Hi guys and welcome. We all woke up to the announcement just yesterday that hundreds of patients could miss out on blood tests over the next 3 weeks because of a shortage of test tubes. Now, but nobody in the NHS agrees that it will be hundreds, and nobody agrees that it will be confined to the next 3 weeks. The estimate is in the thousands, and the delay period of 3 weeks, that comes as a surprise to the company that the mainstream media are referring to. American medical company Becton Dickinson, I thought it was Dixon, but it's Becton Dickinson, which makes the vials for the NHS, announced serious supply chain issues across the UK. And the NHS England in Wales also both issued guidance to doctors to stagger regular tests for non-urgent conditions, including the screening for pre-diabetes, allergies, blood disorders, all the rest of it. So let's look into this and let's go. The NHS has also paused some fertility testing, but vital screening for life-threatening illnesses, including cancer and HIV, will continue as normal. Now, how they're supposed to figure that one out before they have the tests is another question. But demands for tubes for COVID testing, coupled with the lack of lorry drivers and UK border challenges, have led to the shortfall. That's according to Becton Dickinson. Now, how many in the government and the mainstream media, of course, have spun the closure of the port Ningbo port in China, which they claim is the third largest port, and indeed services were shut on August 12th at the terminal, at one terminal, okay? The closure affected just one of the terminals and affected basically 25% of the cargo, which would explain why the FDA didn't mention such shortages in their monthly report, And as you can see, the FDA issues guidance every month to the healthcare industry, not just on a monthly basis, but also on a quarterly basis, as you're looking at on the video now. In the report of the items that are in short supply is clearly seen. Nowhere does it mention anything about test tubes. I've checked out also with the doctors in the Irish equivalent of the NHS, and they're not aware of shortages either, nor have they received any instructions from their NHS equivalent to curtail any testing. And they're also supplied by Becton Dickinson, just one. So I was confused. So I did what most people who write an article do. Now, I don't mean those numpties in the Express. I called Becton Dickinson yesterday and asked for an official statement. Unfortunately, I received the standard reply that we've all seen, okay? So I asked one more question, and it went as follows. As testing has reduced dramatically since its height last autumn and winter, how is it possible that the closure of 25% of a port for just 2 weeks is affecting, just happened rather 2 weeks ago, is affecting supplies of product that it takes 3 weeks to get here? Because that would suggest a lack of planning. The answer was simple. We have both staff and logistical shortages. End of story. They never mentioned raw material supply problems from China or anywhere else for that matter. They just said worker and delivery issues. End of story. Okay? I then double checked just in case I was missing something, because we all knew there was going to be a problem with vials and test tubes. We knew that last year. Oh, I wondered how the USA were handling it. And voila, we can see the difference between good planning and not even bad planning, just zero planning. Unlike the conservative approaches to the Dyson, to get Dyson to manufacture ventilators using materials and products that they'd never used before, the FDA approached Coca-Cola to manufacture the test tubes using PET, which was more than adequate for COVID testing kits, and used another company that specialized in sterilization, okay? This problem was solved in weeks, I think it was 2 weeks. And to this day, Coca-Cola are producing those test tubes. This government has had 18 months to get their house in order. So I looked again more carefully at the announcement by the NHS officials, and it read as follows, okay? Patient safety and continuity of care is our priority, and we are working to ensure there is minimal possible impact on patient care. Blah, blah, blah. They went on to say, the health and care system is working closely with Becton Dickinson to put mitigations in place to resolve any problems if they arise. Now, my reaction was instant, and I think, to be honest, it matched the speeds found in only the Hadron Collider in CERN. The health and care system is working closely with Becton Dickinson to put mitigations in place. What does that even mean? But then it's topped off with, they are taking action to resolve any problems if they arise. If they arise. Are these guys living on another planet? You know, was that the planet where the average IQ was 50% of that of a chimpanzee? What part of cancel routine testing because we haven't got supplies does the NHS not call a problem? I mean, to the NHS, I say this to you. Stop covering for the government. They are trying to hang you out to dry. Governments will change, but voters will remember. And here's a simple recipe. Tell the truth that you are experiencing the problems because of labour and haulage shortages, and you can name Brexit on it. And we need to allow drivers and workers to get into the UK rather, ASAP, to help stop people dying. How's that for an opening line? The industries worst affected by the shortages are pussyfooting around, basically just pussyfooting around the politicians out of fear of reprisals. It's the only reason. This is absolute fact. This explains why no Conservative minister or Farage fool will go next nor near a fishing village for fear of being ambushed. Okay? Trade bodies like the haulage industry chairman, the senior NHS officials are scared to call out the politicians because they have fear that their authority is dependent on political good graces. This is a mug's game, guys. They themselves will become sacrificial lambs. They need to grow a pair and speak out now. They need to help their own members in the haulage industry. They need to help their own members in the NHS. They need to help their own members in the food and beverage. While these people continue to engage in political football, they will always be on the losing side because the referee, mainstream media, is not independent. But if they apply the rules of rugby to a game of football, then things will change, and will change fast. Let's call a spade here. Britain has been blighted with supply chain issues across multiple industries, with gaps seen in supply chains from McDonald's to Morrison's. The calls on the government to issue temporary visas for EU workers to plug those shortages that threatens to disrupt Christmas has been ignored. Completely ignored. And so too have similar requests from the food and beverage industry, the construction industry, the meat industry, the poultry industry, and most worrying of all, the health and care industry are also singing the same tune. Now, enough already. No more asking, no more calling. We need demands. We need more people getting onto their local politicians in those marginals. We need to put a flame up their backside and remind them that their job is on the line also. Ministers need to feel the heat from within their own bubble. Until that happens, the calls to fix anything will be ignored, and the government will invent another reason why the problems we're having has nothing to do with Brexit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side. You take care.